Okay, GTII, so we ended up getting the downside that we were looking for from just yesterday. Let's go ahead and go over the potentials for the coming week. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by. Once again, this is ARCa coming at you with a GTII technicals, raw price action, and statistical threat of analysis on this happy Friday. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, you guys, so we are looking at GTII on the 3-day chart here, and this is specifically the Gaussian channel that we were looking at for the last few days, actually. So we've been talking about a potential target here that's still the same target of about 84.18, and we're creeping up to that target ever so slightly every single day that passes, right? So I'm not saying that this could be the bottom. I'm just saying that this could be an area, just like I've said before, that this could be an area to face a bounce from. If we do get a nice bounce from the to the upside from this support zone and get the shorter time frames to flash, the shorter time frame momentum, to flash to the upside, and that can highly encourage the upper time frames to start pivoting towards the upside too. Okay, but there are a lot of things to kind of get in the way within this theory, right? First of all, the 3-day momentum indicator that we've been keeping track of has officially veered entirely away from our projected target that we talked about over a week ago, right? So this means that there is a secondary area to look at for a potential retracement, right? And particularly, it would be right around this area here, because this is the average of support from the next zone, right? So let's go ahead and take a look at another thing here. Okay, so this is the weekly channel that we're looking at. Chart, sorry. So we have a ladder number 1, right? We have a ladder number 2 right here, and a ladder number 3. And you can see that they're getting smaller and smaller as we're going, right? So usually the fourth one is it tends to be the one to realize that bottom side. It's actually test 4 or 5, but anything really after 3 starts to kind of, the bulls start to look at that reloading zone for a potential upside. Okay, another thing is that I'm not sure that we can actually consider this to be one of the tests as one of the ladders, as very likely the bears are actually looking at these to be the ladders, right? So if this is the case, then 1, 2, we may actually be facing 2 more, right? But that's usually, and there's nothing usual about GTII, so there's high speculation within that too. Okay, so I am noticing that the volume is decreasing incredibly as we're coming down. I mean, the volume is literally decreasing on weekly timeframes here. Okay, so I can't say that, again, guys, I can't say that this is the bottom. I'm just telling you that this is a support zone that we can face a nice bounce from. And judging by the price action from today, it's looking like we could actually make a tiny little upside continuation before a continuation to the way down, as the shorter time frames are kind of increasing in, ever so slightly in some bearish volume. Okay, so what I'm saying is that come Monday, if it isn't a holiday, right? Yeah, so come Monday, we can actually make an upside to a target that would be specific to this zone here. Okay, so let me just go ahead and show you. It's a range, right? So we're just going to go ahead and take into account. So it would be between this zone here, 89 cents and 90.01. So 80.01 and 90.01. Okay, before we can actually face some resistance from these zones. Okay, and not only that, is that the SMA 10 on the 6-hour time frame will eventually reach that target by that point too. Okay, and then there could be some further reaccumulation for us to look at, right? So now we can also jump into the RSI now and see what we have. So yeah, judging by that price action, take a look here. So we have that 30-minute immediate short-term time frame suggesting a short-term downside. So here's kind of the confirmation for a downside right after it, right? So you can see that this is, first of all, let me zoom out. Okay, you have the bullish control zone here and the bearish control zone. Okay, so the inner halves is the bull weakness percentile, and you have the bear weakness percentile. Okay, so every single pivot that you have here, I'm talking about the borders between every zone, 2% up and 2% down, mark your gravitational zones of that zone. Okay, so in this case, in the bull weakness percentile, there is a gravitational zone located right here. right? So this gravitational zone pulls price action back into the prior zone. This gravitational zone pulls price action into the upper zone, and every other zone acts the same way. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is that the RSI signal is faced to the upside, suggesting an upside continuation, but the SMA 14 is located right at that gravitational zone, which could face resistance from not only the SMA 14 represented by the pink line. It's a simple moving average 14 period, or a 14-day simple moving average, right? So it would also be within the gravitational zone. So two areas of support highly likely to face a resistance and come back down. Just like it's been happening right here, here, and it could be one more time, especially since we are within that gravitational zone. Okay, so kind of what's also giving us that bias for a downside or a reaccumulation is what we can call it, right? Is the deeper time frames, right? So this is the bi-hourly time frame suggesting a downside, and it is approaching the gravitational zone here. So the faster we get into oversold territory, the faster it is that we're going to, just get a correction, right? So now here in the 6-hour time frame, you can see also a downside pivot. And now as we start to move into the upper time frame, starting from the 12 into the daily, bi-daily, 3-day, and 5-day, all these here, you can see that the pivots are not as strong to the downside. In fact, they're starting to minimize, right? So that's kind of indicative of finding a floor soon. Okay, so essentially what I'm trying to say here is that the upper time frames are waiting for the influence from the shorter time frames to deal with whatever they have to do in order for them to actually pitch to the upside. An actual pitch to the upside, so that the cascading effect can start, into the upper time frames, right? So that's kind of what we're looking at for now, okay, you guys? So please remember the targets that we're talking about. Essentially, the bottom side of about 84.18 and the top side from the 6-hour chart to about 89 to about 90.01. Okay, you guys, but please remember first and foremost, though, that I am not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy, sell, or hold any assets whatsoever. I need you to do your own due diligence, and everything will be cool. But with that said, you guys, I wish you well a very, very good weekend, and I will catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios.